So I don't actually know what we're going to do tonight.
Do you ever?
No.
Sounds like Shahab again.
I mean, it only looks like I'm leading something. Really, I'm just kind of, taking dictation. But I'll say a couple of things about how this works, just the mechanics of it. Most of it is chanting in Arabic because that's, the Sufi liturgical language is Arabic and Arabized Persian. Hope that's okay. It's a classical Arabic is a mantric language, so you don't have to know what the words mean in order for the juxtaposition of the vowels and the consonants and the way the breath moves to have an effect on opening your consciousness. This is, there's many different forms of this practice called Zikr, which means remembrance. Some are done in groups, some are done solo, some are only done on retreat. So in the group context, having all of us singing together, breathing together, and moving in the same direction, at the same amplitude, at the same tempo, really quite vastly increases the effect of the practice. And if you're sensitive to what, for lack of a better term, we call subtle energies, you'll begin to feel something weaving us all together, kind of like a basket weave. And so don't try to reach for some state that you think is meditation. Just let it carry you. Zakir and I have been doing this a long time. Let us do the heavy lifting. Kara's been around, so.
Around town. Oh, Karen, I feel it. Okay, got it later. Okay. All right. This is perfect. This would be great.
One for you.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna be set for a second.
I'll take one.
Oh, it's nice.
I like that one.
Thank you.
So generally, sitting hands, palms down on the knees, that gives us a much more stable platform from which to move. And what Allison's doing is awesome because getting your knees below your hip sockets really helps to support an erect posture. So and if you can sit kneeling without your feet going to sleep, or if you don't care if your feet go to sleep, that's the way that dervishes in the East sit when they do this practice.
Until they get social security, then they can sit in the chair.
Yeah. So I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to recite. And you can just ignore me while I do that. And mostly all that's necessary is to just center in the heart and let the practice do its thing. Toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of Guidance. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم صدق الله العظيم. And what follows is a recitation of the initiatic lineage of that I represent. And we read about ascended masters. Each of these beings was a real person. They had real problems. They attained awakening in their human life. And they hang out somewhere and are available to us to extend their blessings, to extend their support. And you might have the feeling, or you might not, there's no shoulds about any of this stuff because this is Sufism. As I'm going through these names, you might feel one of them like beam in for a second. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hazrat Khwaja Muhammad Rasulullah. Hazrat Khwaja Ali Waliullah. Hazrat Khwaja Hassan Basri. Hazrat Khwaja Abdul Wahid bin Zaid. Hazrat Khwaja Fudail bin Ayad. Hazrat Khwaja Ibrahim Adam Balkhi. Hazrat Khwaja Sariduddin Huzaifa Marashi. Hazrat Khwaja Aminuddin Hubara Basri. Hazrat Khwaja Karimuddin Mumsharuddin Wari. Hazrat Khwaja Sharafuddin Abu Ishaq Shami Chishti. Hazrat Khwaja Qadwatuddin Abu Ahmad Abdal Chishti. Hazrat Khwaja Nasiruddin Abu Muhammad Chishti. Hazrat Khwaja Nasiruddin Abu Yusuf Chishti. Hazrat Khwaja Qutbuddin Maudud Chishti. Hazrat Khwaja Nairuddin Haji Sharif Zindani Chishti. Hazrat Khwaja Abinur Usman Harvani Chishti. Hazrat Khwaja Moinuddin Hassan Sanjari Ajmeri Chishti Hu. Hazrat Khwaja Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki Chishti Hu. Hazrat Khwaja Fariduddin Masood Ganji Shakar Ajudhani Chishti Hu. Hazrat Khwaja Nizamuddin Mahbubi Ilahi Barauni Chishti Hu. Hazrat Khwaja Nasiruddin Mahmud Sharaf Jalavi Chishti Hu. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Kamaluddin Alama Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Sirajuddin Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Ilmuddin Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Mahmud Rajan Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Jamaluddin Jaman Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Hassan Muhammad Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Muhammad Azam Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Yahya Madani Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Shah Kalimullah Jahanabadi Chishti Hu. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Nizamuddin Rangabadi Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Malana Fakhruddin Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Malana Ghulam Qutbuddin Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Malana Nasiruddin Mahmud Kali Shah Chishti. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Sayyid Muhammad Hassan Jiliul Kalimi Chishti Hu. Hazrat Sheikh Ahmad Sheikh Sayyid Muhammad Abu Hashim Madani Chishti Hu. Hazrat Pir Murshid Inayat Khan Chishti Hu. The Pir Vilayat Inayat Khan Chishti Hu. So Mevlana Rumi says, come out from the circle of time and into the circle of love. Enter the street of taverns and sit among the drunkards. That's us. If you want a secret eye, just shut your eyes. If you desire an embrace, just open your arms. If you crave a living face, smash the stone face. Why pay the dowry of life for this old hag, earth? 1,000 generations have enjoyed what you enjoy. Taste now with sweetness in your mouth that was before honey or bee. Look, here's a bargain. Give one life and take 1,000. And so the Sufis are always working to stay in remembrance of and be in sensate, felt experience of the essential sacredness of this human incarnation. And at every juncture of the day, before their feet hit the floor, before they take that first sip of coffee, before they lock the door to go to work for the day, before they turn the key in the ignition, at every juncture they say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which means with the name of God, who is all beneficence and mercy. And when you do everything with the name of God, it completely changes your experience of life. Now is the time to know that all you do is sacred. Now, why not consider a lasting truce with yourself and God? Now is the time to understand that all your ideas of right and wrong were just a child's training wheels, to be laid aside when you can finally live with veracity and love. My dear, please tell me, why do you still throw sticks at your heart and God? What is it in that sweet voice inside that incites you to fear? Now is the time for the world to know that every thought and action is sacred. This is the time for you to deeply compute the impossibility that there is anything but grace. Now is the season to know that everything you do is sacred. Allah Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammad Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah. Open Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammad Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah. La Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammad Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah. La Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. La Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allah la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. Muhammad Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah. La Bismillah, Ir-Rahman-Ir-Rahim. Allah, ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah. Bismillah, Ir-Rahman-Ir-Rahim. Allah, Bismillah, Ir-Rahman-Ir-Rahim. Allah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah. Allah, Bismillah, Ir-Rahman-Ir-Rahim. Allah, Bismillah, Ir-Rahman-Ir-Rahim. Allah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah. Eyes open. La ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah, la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, la ilaha illallah. Bismillah, Ir-Rahman-Ir-Rahim. 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 Rumi says. Subtle degrees of domination and servitude are what you know as love. But love is different. It arrives complete, just there, like the moon in the window, like the sun of neither east nor west, nor of any place. When that sun arrives, east and west arrive. Desire only that of which you have no hope. Seek only that of which you have no clue. Love is the sea of not being, and there intellect drowns. This is not the Oxus River or some little creek. This is the shoreless sea, and here swimming ends always in drowning. A journey to the sea is horses and fodder and contrivance, but at land's end the footsteps vanish. You lift up your robe so as not to wet the hem. Come, drown in this sea 1,000 times. The moon passes over the ocean of non-being. Droplets of spray tear loose and fall back on the cresting waves. 1,000,000 galaxies are a little scum from the shoreless sea. Starting at the right shoulder. Allah, la ilaha illallah. 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 Allah, illallah. Sorry, my left shoulder, the quarter circle. Illallah.
Information about ways to prevent and solve homelessness is at
Illallah.
I'm Jen.
Illallah. La ilaha 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 illallah.
illallahu, la ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallahu, la ilaha illallahu, illallahu,
Straight down into the heart.
illallahu, 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 illallahu,
Extending your consciousness as far as you can into the infinity over your right shoulder, bringing that diagonally down into your heart. Allah. Ooh. Allah. Ooh. Allah. 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 Let your lips buzz a little bit on ooh. Allah. Ooh. Allah. 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 Blowing to the heart. Nice and steady. So just be present with your experience. Something has shifted. It's breathe funny, and some dude in a hokey looking hat has said a few things. But something has shifted. Don't label it, just feel it. So this next series of 5 chunks is in English for once. And the motion of the head and the upper body is making a cross, starting at the left shoulder, right shoulder, above your head, down to your belly, up to your heart. And the words are easy, you'll pick it up. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. And pause. You don't have to believe in God. It's enough if you believe in yourself, even just a little bit. And besides, I don't believe in the God you don't believe in either. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my body. This is the temple of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my mind. This is the shrine of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar. This is not my heart. This is the altar. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar. This is not. This is the altar of God hanging almost done. This is not my heart. This is the altar. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my heart. This is the altar of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. is not my soul. This is the trust of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my soul. This is not my soul. This is the chalice of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. This is not my spirit. This is the breath of God. So just be with your experience for a few breaths. Label it. Don't compare it to something else. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. يا الله.